Good afternoon. Have you ever wanted to look behind the scenes in the financial industry and figure out what your financial advisor is not telling you? Let's talk about those things in the next video. Hello folks, welcome to Wealth and Whiskey. I'm Roger Kiger, and I've been a financial planner for about 30 years, helping people build wealth and protect their legacies. So, Wealth and Whiskey is about our industry and talking about things that you might not otherwise get to see or hear about. And we'll talk about some good things, maybe some bad things, and a few things that are a little bit ugly. But it's more about telling the plain truth and being aged and unfiltered. So why would I do this? Frankly, I work in an industry that's motivated by money. It's motivated by incentives that may not always do the wrong thing, but maybe they don't do the best thing. So we're going to talk about some of those things, such as, how to find an advisor and what to look for. And we'll do different videos for all of those types of things, but we'll expose some things that maybe our industry just doesn't want to talk about, right? So, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a few financial advisors a little upset with me. And for those of you that are upset with me, sorry about that, but tell the whole truth to start with, and life would be a whole lot simpler and I wouldn't have to do some of these videos. But we need to expose all sides of all the issues, of all the investments, of all the advisors, and all the firms in our industry, so that every client that's looking to hire a financial advisor or utilize some investment product can do the right thing the first time. So that's why we do this, right? So in all these videos, we'll talk about things like, how to pick an advisor, or do you even need an advisor? Maybe you just use AI to choose it, right? That's not really the right answer, but that's something we'll discuss in some of the videos. How are advisors paid? Are they fiduciaries? Do they get commissions or ongoing fees, or I don't know, what does an advisor actually do? I would argue that people think we look at stock screens and pick investments all day, when frankly that's probably 10 or 15% of our time. It's just not what we do all day, every day. So we'll talk about different types of investments. There's annuities and mutual funds and ETFs and stocks and bonds, and how do you deal with surrender charges or guarantees, because their products are guaranteed this type of return for this many years. It's a great deal for everybody. Well, that's just not the right way to present some of those things, I believe. And I've had this discussion with the folks in our firm. It's part of why I've changed firms a couple times, because even though the investment might be okay, maybe it's just not the best investment for everybody. And those are the things we need to talk about. We need to talk about how the advisors get paid for some of these products that they're selling. Because if they make more money than the client does, it just kind of doesn't feel right. So let's talk about that. When you're talking to an advisor, if they're really slick and well polished and have all the right words, but something doesn't feel right, listen to your gut, because it's probably not right. Take your time. Nothing is urgent, and there's no urgency or no deadline for you to engage with somebody or hire somebody to do the right things. So I'm making it sound like our industry is bad. It's not, but there's a few bad actors. There's a few that do an okay job, and then there are a few that do a really good job, and they're in it for the right reasons. And we want to break all of that down so that at the end of just a few 10 or 15-minute videos, you kind of understand what you should be looking for, how they make a difference, why you should do it, and who to go ask these questions to, right? So, because I do believe that advisors can make a really big difference if they're the right advisor for the right client, and they can communicate, because that's the key, right? If the client can't communicate with the advisor and the advisor can't communicate with the client, it's probably not a good fit, and maybe you should just do something different. So anyway, that's what Wealth and Whiskey is about, is breaking down all these things in an industry that really tries to overcomplicate it, because maybe we think it makes us look smart. Maybe we don't want you to know all the reasons or all these big fancy words as to why we do things that may not really matter that much. Because there's a lot of what we do that you could do yourself. There's a lot of what we do that people don't understand that is way more complex than what you could do yourself. We need to uncover all that stuff. So there's no question that's not okay, right? You can enter any questions in the link below. Feel free to put those out there, and we'll talk about those in future videos. But remember that financial success takes a lot of time, patience, diligence, and it's just not easy. It takes a lot of work. So start your journey by downloading the Legacy Blueprint in the link below. Like and subscribe to our videos, and we want to make sure that you don't miss any of our discussions. So I'm Roger Kiger, and I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the future videos. Cheers.